Yo, what's up, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Riders, keep on riding, by the way. Okay, just keep on riding. That's what I've been doing. All right, just riding over here. And I was like, you know what? Uh, not doing any beta reads today. Why don't I just give some people some advice, all right? Michael Romasanto, four-time published author, ghostwriter, helped ghostwrite 6 books, editor now, like I've been saying in the past videos, and of course, 5-star beta reader. Let's keep those 5 stars, all right? Let's not go crazy. I'm looking at the screen, but the camera's up there. So what are we talking about today? Oh yeah, quick plug. Okay, let's do this. Just got to get it out the way. This is Yamikage, my first book. Then we got Bright, Dreadful Sun. And of course, Not Every Star in the Night. Links will be in the description. Okay. Anyways, so what are we talking about today? We're writing characters, talking about characters today, but what kind of characters? We're talking about teenagers. Ladies and gentlemen, teenagers, y'all remember that. But how can we write teenagers? Well, listen, here's the thing. Writing, and especially when you're writing humans or human-like characters, they utilize psychology, okay, the study of the soul. So as a psychology major licensed, I have to think about how people think. I have to think about how people think. Isn't that funny? Yeah. But also being a writer, you can take these concepts and place them into your characters and make them more proper. Now, are these cookie cutter? I would say really close to cookie cutter because most people go through these stages of life. And that's what we're talking about here today. We're talking about Erikson. Oh my goodness, psychologist. One of my favorites. Okay. A little more up there than Freud. Okay. So he focused on the stages of development. And where Freud kind of stayed at the early childhood stage, Erikson was nice enough to go ahead and explain every single stage of life. Okay, so on one side of all of Erikson's little, let's call them pillars. Okay, on one side, there's the good side of every stage of life, and there's the bad side. Okay, it's really cookie cutter in that sense, where you either have a good stage of development or a bad stage of development. Okay, and then those kind of carry on as you're going, almost kind of like a staircase a little bit. You might fall here, but you might be better there. You might fall here. But anyways, the point is every stage of life has a challenge. So what does that have to do with writing? Well, when you understand the underlying challenges that everybody goes through, then you can kind of maybe incorporate that into your characters, which is very important. So let's say somebody my age, intimacy versus isolation. We want to find a love, we want to find a partner or something like that. But when you're a teenager, it's actually a little bit different. That's in the mix, but their primary challenge is identity versus role confusion. So I promise I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at myself here. But yeah, so ego identity, some people call it ego identity. Okay. Or just regular identity versus role confusion. So what does that mean? You'll see a lot of times in high school cliches, the literal cliches. You got the rockers over here. You got the preppy kids over there, the goths over here. Why is that happening? What is the psychological phenomenon behind that? Well, people, when you're when you're a teenager, you want to try to find something. You want to try to basically find your identity so you can move forward in life. And this is a psychological defense mechanism because you want to be able to solidify yourself, understand where you are. So as you get older, you become an adult. This is more intuitive. You can kind of take the path. You can choose your right path, do what you got to do. Wow. So interesting. So amazing. Am I lagging? Hopefully I'm not lagging. I like to do this in case I'm lagging. I see a little bit of lagging. So anyways, what happens, let's break this down. I'm just going off the dome here. So role confusion, what does that mean? It's a setup for a lot of bad behavior as a teenager, a lot of bad happenings. Maybe there's, and a lot of this has to do with being a fledgling, like being basically looking up to certain people as you're growing up, like maybe your parents, maybe you have a certain influence or someone that you can look up to. You know what I mean? Good influences will add to a proper identity. It'll show you and it'll nurture like, okay, you know what? You can be what you want to be. You could do what you want to do. Nothing could stop you. But there are also, of course, horrible influences. And this is why teenagers are very susceptible to a lot of bad stuff, I suppose, like maybe drugs, alcohol, the whole thing, the whole nine. Is because usually they might surround themselves with other people that either A, may seem like they know who they are, or B, are just simply bad influences. Okay, is everybody a bad apple? No, I don't think anybody in this world is a horrible bad apple. Well, I mean, there's horrible people out there. Don't get me wrong, but these are under the surface of why people do these things. You know what I mean? Once you understand the psychology, y'all catch on where I'm going here. You can take these concepts and put them into your books. Okay, a good example, Harry Potter. We always go back to Harry Potter. It's a fantasy book. He starts off as a teenager. He's trying to find his little core group of people he can associate with. And he's also trying to figure out who he should stay away from. That's another big thing too. So Harry Potter could have easily become like maybe kind of more of a bad wizard, you know what I mean? A kind of a bad dude. But he found good friends, and it's important, especially like let's say you guys are parents out there. Make sure you're vetting your teenagers' friends to make sure that everybody's a good influence. Maybe even talk to them. But how does that apply to writing? I'm not here to give you psychological advice. I'm just telling you how it works. So if you're writing a character, especially with YA, young adult fiction, you're going to utilize these concepts a lot. And if you don't understand them and you don't apply them to your writing, you might get role confusion as an author. What kind of author I am. I don't even know how to write these types of characters. So with that being said, you got to understand the concepts that are stuck here. These are anchors. We can't get away from them. You got to either A, fail or pass. That's according to Erickson. It's either you totally mess up, get out of here, you ads, or you nail it. You know what I mean? So with that being said, every good thing that you nail, like, so let's say Harry Potter, I'm just going to keep going back to that dude. He found his identity. He wanted to be a good guy, after a lot of tribulation. And this is the part about writing YA. You got to put them in situations of temptation. You got to put them in situations of tumultuous tumultuous events, so they can learn to solidify their, identity, their ego identity. Let's say, I think Harry Potter in the fourth book, The Goblet of Fire, he goes into this little like tournament where it's like kind of like the head honchos of each little school or whatever, and they're thrust into this environment. And I recall from the book that I read like a million years ago. I'm not the movie guy, I'm the book guy. I remember, I forgot his name though, but basically there's a character he kind of looked up to. You know what I mean? He kind of looked up to this character, and that was a good influence. But you also got characters like Malfoy, which is kind of like the evil, not evil, but kind of like the antithesis, the anathema of Harry Potter. So with that being said, now, one thing about that guy Malfoy is he surrounds himself with goons, and this is actually kind of another kind of interesting phenomenon. I don't know if there's a name for this. I guess you could call it latching or maybe shark and minnow. I think the shark and minnow is kind of a good way to kind of describe it. When a teenager sees another teenager that really kind of seems or actually knows what he's doing, what he wants to be, then, other people enroll confusion. Maybe people are kind of confused in the role. They latch on to these people. That's why you see in school the popular person surrounded. And there's a reason for that. Is it because they're a great person or a bad person? No, but they're giving off the impression that they know who they are. And that's what we strive to do in that stage. Me, I got long hair. When I was a teenager, I had long hair. All the people around me did not have long hair, but I identified as somebody that has long hair because I like long hair. So people liked me despite the fact that I had long hair and they had short hair. These are just some types of things that you might want to do. So let's say you're writing somebody with a unique characteristic, which is something you should do. I don't want to take up too much of your time here. I want to maybe keep this to 10 minutes. But every single character you write should probably have a unique characteristic, something we can latch on, something we can anchor. And when you're writing YA, that's actually pretty important in my opinion. Like, let's look at the Harry Potter thing again. He's got the big old Jajouche, right? The scar. That is his unique characteristic. Everybody knows Harry Potter is Harry Potter because he's got the scar. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for that, he would just be ABC wizard. He would just be like the guy, hey, they would be after him. Voldemort will want to kill him. But just from a writing perspective, he doesn't have that unique characteristic. And if you notice throughout that book, that's what people are constantly commenting on. Like I think what's his name, Dumbledore. He's talking about the scar. Snape, rest in peace, that actor. Snape, he was like kind of commenting on like, look at this guy with the scar. Everybody's making fun of him in the scar. Now at that point, you can kind of take these unique characteristics and say, should I make my character proud of their unique characteristics or should I knock them down? You know what I mean? I'm a fan of destroying a character's self-esteem and then really giving them a nice build-up. Creating tension is important, and that's why, especially when writing YA, you should really try to definitely capture that tension. It's such a drama-filled stage, so you got to incorporate that into your plots as well. Because it's one thing to have a cookie-cutter plot where the main character is doing the thing, you know what I mean? But their age group is a part of their challenge, So like, let's say on a quest plot, somebody that's 30 years old might have different types of challenges than somebody that is 13. So with that being said, you've got to kind of really incorporate that. With that being said, if you guys got any questions, let me know. I'll drop my books in the description. Thumbs up, subscribe. Give me some If you want, go ahead, or maybe I'll help you out here. More videos psychology pertaining, because I just love psychology and I love writing. Those two kind of go hand in hand if you know how to make them go hand in hand. So study psychology and keep on writing. Just keep on moving. All right. Good luck. Get that work in progress done. Get your 500, 1,000 words in today. And yeah, keep them moving. Peace. Stopping recording. I'll do this. Yeah, stop recording.